In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the real 144,000 being gathered in this day and time, the Mentellians. Menzeka Aminun to all of my Mentellian brothers and sisters out there, registered members of the Republic of Mentellect, and to all future Mentellians who have yet to find their way home to the Republic of Mentellect, which is Amen's community. I send greetings out to you, and I send peace out to you in our Mentellian language by saying to you, Menzeka Aminun. Good evening, I am your host, the intellectual NUBEN MENKARAYZZ. This is Mentellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be discussing the fourth dimensional life after the three-dimensional death. Why do I refer to this existence? And I'm going to call it just that. Why do I refer to this existence, this three-dimensional existence, as a form of death? Because it is. It's a form of death because we are walking around a lot of dead people, people who are mentally dead, people who have no real rhyme or reason for existing. So when you have people with no purpose walking around aimlessly, right, no real point for living, they begin to exist. And once you start taking in the mindset of these types of people, you begin to only exist. When you start to be around people who are not about anything, who have no real purpose in life, you become a part of the dead. Because to live is to think. To think is to live. That's true life, to be able to think forward with a purpose, to evolve, to grow. Point of being here on the planet, that's the point of really living. To have a series of events or set a series of events in your life, goals to reach for you to evolve into and grow into a higher state of being. That's life. Walking around or existing in this three-dimensional realm, looking for will you fit in a job or whatever. Because I got this because I was watching this thing on, what's the guy who started, Jeff Bezos, the guy that started Amazon. And, this guy's from the UK. And people are sitting here talking about how this guy's, how he set up Amazon and how he changed the ways of life of a lot of people by setting up Amazon, by basically putting a lot of people out of work, right, and warehouse jobs and things like that. And you had a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, where am I going to work? Where the jobs at? Where the jobs at?" They call these people blue collar workers. Where am I? Where's the jobs at? Where's all the jobs and this, that, and third, right? And I said to myself, how pathetic. How pathetic that a bunch of people, right, could allow their movement to be stopped, their life to be stopped, their livelihood to be stopped by a man who comes along and just creates some online shopping explosion like Amazon. These people don't have no plan for their life. So then I said, you know what? These people don't have no life. Their life is what Jeff Bezos, basically dictates. That's their life. And I said, I can never be that way, nor do I ever want my people to be that way. We cannot be that way because we are of Amen as the elect, and our lives are fully and openly able to be extended onto a next level. So therefore, we have a true purpose in life. We have a true purpose in life, and the elect who come here find their true purpose in life. They find their true purpose in the evolution of their ascendancy. Again, you know how they say when you start having children, life starts to make sense to you? Well, with a lot of people, life still don't make sense to them because they had these children for no reason. But you're supposed to be able to see through your children. Life starts to make sense. Life, you see what all of this comes to because they represent your evolution in life. And therefore, progressing towards something and you are building something for them, that's when you are really living. But that type of thought, that higher or extended transmission for a collective group of people can only come by way of the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is pulling us into that state of eternal life because that state of eternal life forces us to think forward into the future. We are forced by way of our ascendants to think forward into the future. And thus we are living eternally through them because we are thinking forward into the future. We are living through them. Their vision grows as our vision grows. So we are headed toward eternal life. When I said to y'all, from here to eternity, I wasn't playing. From here to eternity, like that movie, that title, that movie, From Here to Eternity. From here is the third dimension, to eternity is the fourth dimension. That's when everything starts to make sense. And in fact, the fact that we are gathering together in this three-dimensional realm, collectively and cooperatively, the fact that we are gathering together, that can only be transmission from the fourth dimension. That can't be of the third, or definitely ain't of the damn sure ain't of the second dimension. And it can only be of the fourth dimension. Why? Because again, black people, so-called black people, are not gathering together to do nothing. They standing around just looking, waiting for things to happen, basically existing, waiting for Caucasians, white people, or whoever, some government officials, some white supremacy, whatever, they waiting on things to happen to them instead of making things happen for them. And by I say for them, I mean forward, fourth dimensional. Instead of making things happen for you or for them, they're waiting on things to happen to them. We ain't gonna be those kind of people. The bright race, we make things happen for us by coming into a collective, into a community, collectively, and moving forward as that almond race, separating ourselves from the human race, raising ourselves to a higher state. That's what the whole point of this is. That's what we're here for. I told you all before, you're only going to come into this Republic of Mentellect because you want the power. You want that fourth dimensional power. And that fourth dimensional power is obviously being delivered to those of you who are choosing to walk this path and stay on this path collectively. We all in this together. That is where we're walking toward eternal life. But everybody's not going to make it on the path. Certain people are meant to fall off the path. Certain people are meant to die on the side of the road. Don't let that be you. Do not let that be you. Do not let that be you. We are not meant to die on the side of the road like the black race. They're going to die off in the three-dimensional realm. I told you that. They're already part of the gray race already. They don't even know it. Part of the gray race. Because at this point, if they still talking about black and white, if they still talking about that, meaning if they still talking about trying to have some kind of dealing with white people or trying to be equal white people and all this other nonsense, if they still talking about that, that's a sign that they're going to be equally yoked. They're going to get what they want, and they're going to be equally yoked with the white race to make the gray race. And then they're going to be canceled all out together. All of this is going to be canceled out. So they're already dead already. They're already gone. They're going in the three-dimensional realm. Those of us who are raising as the bright race, as the brighter bronze race, as that race of beings who are headed toward eternal life, because again, we're being pulled forward, right? They're being made to stand still. Black people are being made to stand still or being pulled backwards. We, as the bright race, are being pulled forward. That's why we came together. And again, this message is only going to perk up the ears of those who are of the bright race, those who are seeking that eternal life, those who are seeking that eternal state, because again, it's a long journey. It's a long path. And a lot of people are not patient enough to walk that path. You got people that come in to this republic and they be like, oh, I was here 2 years and I'm waiting for something to happen. What are you talking about, what you waiting for to happen? It's already happening. We here. That's what's happening. We here. And we're living this life. These people say, oh, I'm waiting for something to happen. Those are the people already dead already. They're already gone. They're already gone. First it starts with the mind, then the body, then first starts with the mind, the soul, and then the body goes. But the mind in the fourth dimension, as we in the third dimension, the mind starts to pick up reception and transmission. And when you heard this message and you start to actually envision the things I'm telling you, you could actually start to see it. That means that you are being pulled by the eternal vibration of life, by our ascendants, the Amen, into the fourth dimension, into eternal life. Now, people will say, how can, eternal life in the fourth dimension, how does that work? Simply because we realize that death is a form of incompletion. Death is a form of incompletion. And we realize, like I said on the earlier broadcast, that death is just merely a time to clear out the mind and reboot. Clear out the mind and reboot. That's what the point of death is, to clear out the mind and reboot so that we come forward in the fourth dimension. That's eternal. Because each time we come forward in the fourth dimension, we're going to extend in our life. Each time we keep coming forward through our ascendance, every time we come back, and we're going to look the same, but we're going to be a more advanced version. We're going to look more evolved, but we're going to pretty much still keep our same features. We're going to continuously keep coming forward because we took this first step in this three-dimensional realm to go forward, and we're going to place it in the minds of our children to go forward within this covenant, within this community collectively, to be the next rulers of this planet. Because we already sowing the seeds already. Now you got those people who are going to keep coming back in the infinite world, in the three-dimensional realm. They're going to keep coming back in the three-dimensional realm, but they're going to keep coming back in spiritual form or in physical form, but they're going to keep being the same thing. They're going to keep being the same thing. They're going to be added into the gray race, and it's going to be the same people who are messed up as black people, who are messed up as white people. That's why I said when the gray race starts to come about and they start to overtake the planet, like that, as far as the workforce and things like that, and being that, what they pushing for, when that comes about, I said you're going to have people who are going to still be talking about white supremacy, and they're going to be mulattoes, and then you're going to have people talking about black power, they're going to be mulattoes. I told you that and they're going to be fighting against each other, and they're going to be family members. They're going to be like brothers. You know what I mean? One going to be a white supremacist, the other one going to be a white racist supremacist, the other one going to be a Black Panther nationalist or whatever the hell. That's going to be real. Because that energy, that spiritual energy has not left. It's going to be embedded in these three-dimensional people. Now, that's called the infinite life or circular life. Or I'm not even going to call it infinite life. That's infinite existence. That's what we're going to refer to that as. That's infinite existence. The difference between existence and life is that you are moving forward in a state of life. You are constantly evolving in a state of life. In a state of existence, you ain't evolving nowhere. You're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again in a rotation. You're being manipulated into a rotation, into a routine of rotation, the same thing. You're going to be, in other words, thinking the same thing when you die, and when you reborn again in this infinite circle, in this three-dimensional state, you're going to be still thinking the same thing over and over and over again. The same low-life people that was here as black people, as white people, in this two-dimensional and three-dimensional state are going to come back as the same low-life people as the gray race, the same low-life people as the gray race. Same people. And they're going to keep coming back in that circular form, and that's going to be a living hell for them existing in that form, because they can never better themselves. They can't escape that prison. Remember, I told y'all about the mental prison, the MENTAL. They can never escape that mental prison, and that's going to be a hell for them, because they'll hear messages like this, and it's tormenting them, because when I say people hear this message, they have a reaction to it. Either they going to grow with it and join and become a part of it and evolve with it, and then you got others who can't see themselves being a part of it, but they can't stop listening to it. They can't stop listening to it, but they can't see themselves being a part of it. Or those people who hear it instantly and want to be a part of it. Or those people who hear it and they'll want to be a part of it for a minute, because they want to come amongst the living. They want a different way of thinking, a different state of mind, which is what we are providing through mental life, which is what Amen is providing through mental life, our ascendants, and they want a charge of that, and then they go back out amongst the dead. You see? That's reality. Because again, in the fourth dimension, everything extends. Everything extends in the fourth dimension, and everything makes sense. Or everything will make sense. You will begin to understand everything that happened in the three-dimensional realm once you move into the fourth dimension. As we are moving into the fourth dimension, we're starting to understand that how I am able to share this transmission with you is because it is coming from upper dimensions, complete messages, complete transmissions. The things you may not have understood in the three-dimensional state, be about religion, philosophy, these humans, whatever, science, whatever they call it, science, the things you didn't, the mysteries of the world, the creation of the planet, how it really came here, what it came about, it's all being explained by way of the Amen through me. It's all being explained because we have to know all of these things logically and thus factually in order for us to move forward. There is no forward motion, there is no life when there's mysteries. When there's mysteries, when there are unanswered questions, there is no life. There is no life when there's mysteries and questions that need to be answered. That's existence, because now you're living in a realm of existing, and you're just, you're walking around in a state of, what's the word I want to say? You're walking around in a state of mystery. Everything is vague, not vivid. When you live a life, you live that vague life, and everything is unclear, you're not really living. You are existing. When things are not clear to you, you are existing, you are not living. Things must be made clear to you in order for you to see the extended path, right? In order for you to take the eternal path, because you could take the infinite path to nowhere. And when I say the infinite path to nowhere, the path of death, because those people who keep coming back in the three-dimensional realm, they're dead already. Those people who keep popping back up in the three-dimensional realm, and they're never going to evolve. Even the black people that move from the two dimension, and when they get mixed in with the gray race, because that's the only way they're going to be able to ascend to the third dimension is by being mixed in with the white race. The only way the so-called black race is going to be able to ascend to the third dimension is by being mixed in with the white race and all the other races. They're not going to be able to ascend by Amen, because they are not of Amen. The clones are not of Amen. The creations are not of Amen. So the only way they're going to be able to have enough power to ascend to the third dimensional realm, which will be the low realm, that will be the low state, because 3 will be 0. 3 will become 0, and 4 will become 1. 3 will become 0, meaning the start point, and 4 will become 1. The two-dimension will be erased. People will not be able to exist in the two-dimensional state. 3 will become 0, and 1 will become 4. We are one. We are one. And that one path toward eternal life starts in the fourth dimension. But we must first be pulled mentally by that transmission by way of our ascendants. They're trying to pull us into alignment. They've been trying to pull us into alignment by allowing this message to go out. By allowing this message to go out, by allowing us to hear this message, we're being pulled into alignment with them. We're being pulled into alignment with them continuously. If we listen to the message, if we follow the message, if we stay in line like soldiers and we march forward into the fourth dimension, not looking back, not standing on the sidelines, not being emotional, not sitting up here listening to foolishness and stupidity, because that's going to just keep you dead. The people who have gave us a bunch of foolishness and stupidity in this day and time, the people who have given nothing but foolishness and stupidity, emotional stuff, these people are passing out. These people are going to pass away. Mentally, they're going to pass away, and physically, they're going to pass away. Mentally, they're going to pass away, and physically, they're going to pass away. They are already dead in this three-dimensional realm. Even when they get mixed into the gray race and they move up, they're still going to be dead. I told you, 3 is 0. 0 represents death. 1 represents eternal life. Right? 1 represents eternal life. 0 represents death. Even when we born into this three-dimensional realm, we really born dead. We're born dead. Are born dead. And we walk through existence as dead people, meaning mentally dead, because we don't know who we are. We don't know what we are. We sitting up here listening to dead people tell us what we are. Who are the dead people? The so-called white race, the human race. They're the dead race, right? But why? Because they're born to die. They are born to die. So we already listening to dead people telling us who we are. They tell us we human. They tell us we black. We listening to these dead people. These artificial, these creations tell us who and what we are and how to think. So already that proves that we are dead, or the so-called black race is dead, because they can't think for themselves. If you can't think for yourself, then that means you're dead. The Amen have no use for you. And I told you the Amen have no use for the so-called black race. They're merely here to be used as examples and a sacrifice. That's it. There's no use for the clones. Just for that. And to be mixed in with the gray race, to be the future slaves along with the rest of the humans. That's the only reason they're here now. They already done passed out the children they're going to pass out for the mass majority of the children that they need to come through. They already been used as those vessels already. So now it's just going to be for them to be mixed into the gray race, and that's going to be it. And they're going to be forever trapped in that three-dimensional realm. That's it. They're going to be forever trapped in that three-dimensional realm. That's all. There is no extension for them because, again, there is no extension in the realm of existence. There is no extension in the realm of existence. There is no extension in the realm of existence. That means that those who are born dead into this realm, mentally dead, listening to the beast, thinking there's no problem with following these people or these animal people, thinking they don't think it's nothing wrong with that, or laying with these people or mixing with these people. Those people are born dead, man. Those people are born dead. You see, that's really what it means when they tell you in religion that you're born into a world of sin. When they say you're born into a world of sin, you're born ignorant. You're born ignorant. You're born into a world of sin. That means you're born ignorant. That means you're born mentally dead. And everybody who is born mentally dead are always seeking some form of enlightenment. The form of enlightenment that they're seeking is supposed to spark them to think and start to live. See, when you start to think and you start to look at yourself and realize certain things about yourself, that's a sign of life taking place. Now, you got certain people who might get sparks of that, those signs of life and whatnot, but then it goes right back out. They might get a little bit of that light and they might start to live and their minds start opening up and, visions of who they are come about, and then they go right back into a state of darkness. They go right back into a state of death. See, we trying to keep that light, aka that brightness, open, because we realize that this transmission is coming from the highest state, our ascendants, and they're trying to spark that brightness in us so that we can live. Because if we don't live mentally, if we're not thinking forward, thinking into the future for them, then they don't live. If we don't live, then they don't live. We are aligned with them. We represent the first resurrection. We represent the first resurrection from the dead. The real resurrection. I know that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I talked about him and how, they was like the resurrection, the first resurrection, but they wasn't the total resurrection, because even he kept saying he was trying to gather the 144,000. So that was real. Dr. Malachi Z. York, he kept saying he was trying to gather the 144,000, but the problem was why they couldn't really gather the 144,000 was because they were using the tools of the beast. And when I say they were using the tools of the beast, what I mean is they were using his religion. They was using his Islam, right? That's the tools of the beast, his Freemasonry. They were using his tools. They didn't have any tools of their own. And I'm not putting them down for it. It was necessary for that time so that we can get to where we got. But they were always going to be half dead by using the tools of the beast. They realized certain things about themselves and they brought things to us, but they were always going to be half dead. Again, if you're following the transmission of the beast, if you allowing him to think for you, you allowing him to tell you what you are, define you, and to the point where you no longer thinking, and you dead. You died in the three-dimensional realm. It's not until our people start thinking in the fourth dimension and start listening to and keying into our ascendants, that's when we start to live. When we start to define ourselves or redefine ourselves as who we are. No, we're not part of the human race. No, we are not black people. No, we are not Negroes. No, we're not what y'all are. We're not the same. No, we don't want to mix with you. We don't want to do any of these things. No, we don't accept your science and your philosophy. We don't accept that. That's the start of life, because when you start refusing to accept these things from the beast, then you start to say, well, then, what am I and who am I? And that's when the transmission comes in. It's only going to come for those people who are ready to accept this message of life, because the message of life dictates who you really are, not who they told you were. Because who they told you were was really nothing but deadness, but a bunch of dead nonsense. They told you was black people. Our skin is not black. They called you black people because they were basically saying that you're mentally dead, absent of light. You had dead people calling you dead people. You see? And y'all accepted that. And black people still accept that. And they still want to be equal with these people. That's why they're dead. That's why they're dead. And they will remain dead. They will remain amongst the dead. That is their punishment. The so-called black people that follow the image of the beast, who chose the beast over Amen, they will remain dead, man. They will remain dead. The ones who said no to Amen in this covenant and chose to leave and start doing what they're doing, they said no to Amen. They didn't say no to NUBEN. They want to claim that they said no to me. They didn't say no to me because I don't even know them people. I don't care about them. They said no to Amen. They didn't say no to NUBEN. NUBEN don't care either way. It's nothing personal to me. I don't care if they come or leave. I don't care about none of that. They said no to Amen, and thus they said yes to the beast. So because they said yes to the beast, that means they belong to him. And they will die with him. They will continue to keep coming back born dead with him. Continue to be mentally dead. Continue to look for his philosophies and things like that. They are blocked from eternal life. These people are blocked from eternal life. These people that left this community, these people that slandered this message, these people who will never hear this message, they're blocked from eternal life. Because the eternal life starts through us. It starts through us. The chosen of Amen. It starts through us. It ain't starting with nobody else here, man. They going, man. That's why I say I don't pay these niggas no attention, man, when they talking. I don't pay none of these people no attention, these damn white people. I don't pay none of these people no attention when they talk. Why am I going to pay attention to dead people? Why would you pay attention to dead people? Why would we give energy to dead people? They not even here no more. They not here with us in the fourth dimension. That's where eternal life starts. Pay them dead people no mind. And I don't give a damn if it's even your family members. I don't care if it's your family members. They dead, man. And I tell you who living amongst your dead family members, or you got a dead spouse, a black person, a dead spouse, you need to move from amongst them, man. You need to separate from them, man, because all they're going to do is lay that dead energy on you. I done told y'all before, I said you people who are not your people, you laying with somebody who are the black race, you laying with a dead person, man. Hell, even the messenger realized that. He realized that the so-called black race is dead, that they mentally dead. If you living amongst your dead black family members, you need to move out, man. Watch your life start to change for the better once you get from amongst the dead. They slated for death, man. Matter of fact, they already dead. They just walking around you right now, and 9 times out of 10, the only reason they still physically living because they feeding off your energy. But you take your energy away from them and see how they all start to fall down. See how their health start to deteriorate. Because their mind already going, their mind is already deteriorated. Stop living amongst them and see what happens. See that they health start going down. They start getting in all kinds of dilemmas. They start dying in accidents, all kind of stuff. Took your energy away from them. Amen took the light away from them, or they never even had it. That's what it is, man. You see? And again, people might say that sounds kind of cruel, but it's not cruel at all. It's necessary. It's not whether it's good or bad. It's not neither good or bad. It's necessary. It's for your evolution and your growth toward the fourth dimension. I told you before, don't worry, you can bring them people back in the fourth dimension. Those people who mentally dead and you already know there's no rays in them. You can bring them back in the fourth dimension through your genetic. You can regenerate them in the fourth dimension mentally. Regenerate their genetics and whatnot. Clear their mind out. But the rest of these people have them. Just forget it, man. Just forget it. Eternal life is pulling us forward. Eternal is pulling us forward. That's what got us here in the first place, man. Why you think, again, nobody never found it strange that I said mentellect ain't for black people? Nobody understood why I said that. Because when I said mentellect wasn't for black people, what I meant was that mentellect is not for the dead. Dead translates as black to me. Dead translates as black. Mentellect is not for the dead people. It's only for the living. That's why I called you the bright race. The bright race represents brightness and vibrancy. You are the bright race. You are the vibrant ones. You are the thinkers. You are the intelligent ones. And these people that left out the community and talking about they still bright. Nah, you ain't bright. The people that left out the community and want to take certain things with them, bits and pieces with them, that's the dead, man. The ones that left out want to take little bits and pieces and whatnot, still attach bright to their name and number 10 to their name. They dead, man. They dead people trying to act like they still living. That light is going out of them, man. They going. You see? But they was meant to be going because it's meant to lessen our load as we're moving forward into that state of eternal life. As we're moving forward into that state of eternal life, I told you the fourth dimension represents an extended state. It's nowhere like the three-dimensional realm. It's nothing like it. It represents a extended and full state. You see? It's a whole nother state. It is the state of one. The longest one. And that long one from fourth dimension to the next one, which is the eighth dimension. That's why the fourth dimension is so long and is eternal, because you're picking up mental as you're moving through the fourth dimension. And you're picking up all kinds of intelligence because, again, you're starting to figure out, damn, how I could live longer. We can live longer. Is this why our heart stops? Is this why we gain? Is this why? And then as you start to figure out the reasons why you die, whether it's from health and things like that, or you might meet an untimely death, all of that stuff is going to go away. It's going to fade away. There is no death in the fourth dimension. There is no stop point in the fourth dimension. Why? Because you're going to be too busy heading toward the eighth dimension. We ain't got time to die in the fourth dimension. There is no time to die in the fourth dimension. But there's plenty of time to be born into the third dimension, born dead, and basically exist and then physically die. But there is no time to stop in the fourth dimension because you're supposed to be headed toward the eighth dimension. You see? You're supposed to be headed toward the eighth dimension. You're not supposed to have the same three-dimensional thoughts as you're moving toward the fourth dimension. You ain't supposed to remember what it was like to be a black person. You see? You are starting to forget about that already. A lot of y'all starting to forget that already. We don't remember none of that nonsense, man. Because the more and more you think about it, you see that there's a bunch of nonsense and foolishness and a bunch of people that's just basically wanting to go back and forth. And notice, how many of y'all notice, when you look at black people now, so-called black people now, notice you can't really identify with them anymore. How many of y'all getting that? You can't even, you look at them like they don't even feel real. You can't even identify with them anymore. How many of y'all get that? They like unfamiliar to you, correct? Tell me I'm wrong. I'm talking about my people. You can't, it's like you look at them and they don't even, they look like real primitive to you. Like when they talk, how they interact, it looks very primitive. And when you find yourself acting like these people, you get ashamed of yourself. I swear to you, it's niggas that when I look back at the niggas I used to talk to and was cool and hung out with, I'm ashamed of myself. You understand? I'm like, I really was talking to these people? You know what I mean? I'm like, I really hung out with y'all? You see, I can't. Like, I can't even look at them in movies no more, man. I can't even look at them in movies no more. It's hard to watch TV because, again, it's that same dead energy. What you're picking up is, and why it's unfamiliar is because it's a dead energy. You're starting to recognize it as what it is. As you are extending and you are becoming more and more lively and vibrant, they are dead. Because, again, the dead can't walk. This is why the white man made movies like, what's that, the zombie movies, The Living Dead? He knows that dead people can be walking. He knows that. That's why he made movies like Dawn of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, because he knows that zombie state is real, man. He knows that there's walking dead. The mass majority of people on the planet are walking dead. And the only reason why they're functioning is because they're given something to do. They're given something to do. That's the only reason why they're functioning. Because without being given something to do, they couldn't even function. You see, that's why I said before, I don't like being around people like that. I don't like going out amongst these people, man. I don't like none of that, man. I don't like going amongst these people, man. I like to be by myself, man. If I can't be amongst my people, the Mentalians, I don't want to be around these people. I don't want to be around black people or white people. I don't want to be around none of these people, man. Unless I have to be. But I'm noticing it more and more. You get, when as you start to become more alive and you're receiving that transmission, as you become more and more alive, you start to basically section yourself off. You start to basically, quarantine yourself off. Because that transmission that you get and the thoughts you have in your head become so precious, you don't want to share them with the dead. You don't want to get out of your own head because these transmissions are becoming stronger and you're starting to extend yourself. So the last thing you want to do is exhaust your energy talking to these mentally dead people. You don't want to do that. You don't want to exhaust your energy talking to these mentally dead people. You don't want your family members coming over. You don't want them talking to you and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I got family members. I call them distant relatives. I can't even talk to them because I just see death on them, man. It's like, what's the point of y'all still living? What is the point? Answer, they not living. They just exist and they just waiting to die. They're born dead and they waiting to die again. Because that's all it is in the three-dimensional realm. You born dead and you waiting to die again. See, we were born dead. The elect were born amongst the dead, but we were never dead. We thought we were dead, but we were born amongst the dead. You see? And it was meant for a certain time for us to start receiving transmission to go into that state of eternal life. Because again, those who are going to hold order, future order, they live forever, man. The ones who are meant to hold real order on this planet, real power on this planet, they live forever, man. Because what? Amen always has to have law and order on this planet. This planet is governed by law and order. So who's going to represent it if not us when we in our right state of mind? Who else is going to represent it? Who else is going to represent it if not us? The white man, he's showing you right now, he ain't going to uphold the law in the future. Look what he doing. Look what he doing. He ain't going to show, you already see, he already starting to shut down mentally. You understand that? You already see it. They all sloppy with their stuff. It was a time when they used to be able to hide their stuff. They dysfunction. They dead mindset. It was a time when they was able to hide it. They can't even hide it no more. They introduced homosexuality, lesbianism, now pedophilia, next bestiality, all of this stuff. That shows that that's a reprobate mind, man. That's a dead mind, man. A mind that makes no sense logically or naturally makes no sense. So whenever you have unnatural people, illogical people, emotional people at the helm of something, eventually those people got to be unseated, man. And the only reason they still sitting in the seats of power because our people are not in their right state of mind. We not alive. We dead. So therefore we letting those who are mentally dead lead us. You letting the mentally dead lead the world. But that's going to come to an end. That's already coming to an end. And those of you who want to still follow the beast in this day and time, that's why I said you Negroes is played out. If you still listening to the so-called white man and you care about what he think, that show y'all finished, man. Y'all already done. You still care about what he think. You still looking to him to see what he think. He ain't got nothing to tell you. He done. Right now, everything with him is just smoking mirrors and him basically saying whatever to y'all. And that's it. And that's good enough for you niggas. That's a sign of the dead because, again, a person who is living, they have the grasp and the command of logic and rationale. They can explain things sensibly and logically because that's a sign of thinking. And a sign of thinking is a sign of life. A sign of thinking is a sign of life. When you're not thinking, when you're just believing, when you're just going off of what sound good, then you basically existing. You existing. You like the person on that machine. What's the machine that keeps you alive? That reads your heart and your brain and things like that. That keeps you alive on the machine. I told you that's what these people are on the planet. But the machines are the television, the internet, the radio. That's keeping these people alive, man. Take away the TV, take away the radio, take away all these things. These people start going crazy, man. Take away social media. These people will go crazy. They'll lose their minds. Because that's what's stimulating them. That's what's keeping them alive. Like the machine of the person who done, like I said, they'd be on the machine to keep them alive. And you watching the sensor going across the thing, seeing and making sure that they still being kept alive, or should I say, they existing. They still, because they not really alive. Because if a machine got to breathe for you, if a machine got to think for you, or monitor you, or basically plump fluids in your body, you dead, man. You dead. You are dead. And somebody has to do it on your own. Somebody got to think for you. Somebody got to live for you, breathe for you, do all this stuff. You dead. In other words, like them people at Amazon, you mean to tell me Jeff Bezos, whether he live or die or come up with another way, that's going to dictate what happens to your life? You sitting up here crying over whether Jeff Bezos start another company or his company going to do this, that, and the third, or you waiting for a job from a Jeff Bezos? That's people who dead. That's the dead. And them people, the dead, is always things for them to do. It's always things for the dead to do. The beast creates jobs for the dead. You see, he creates jobs for the mentally dead. He trains them to do the jobs of the mentally dead. He creates these jobs for the mentally dead. That's why I said it's not for our people to stay on no jobs, man. We have to be in businesses that stimulate the minds of our people. That's why I said we got into intellectual property, because that represents a spark of life. We spark in the next mental life of another generation or a next generation. That's why we got into the things we're getting into. That's the bigger picture. We are bringing life back onto this planet through the fourth dimensional state by way of Amen. We're bringing life back onto this planet, real life, eternal life, supremacy of the Amen, bringing the Amen's presence forward in the fourth dimension, raising this world into the fourth dimension. That's what we're gathering for. But we have to be in place. They have to have somebody to shoot this transmission to. They have to have a collective body of elect to shoot this transmission to and bounce it back and shoot it to us and bounce it back so that we're being pulled into alignment. That's pulling us into that state of eternal life. We're being reborn again. We're being regenerated again. We got our own names, our own identity. Do you know how powerful that is? Y'all still don't, a lot of my people don't even get it. You know how long it's been since we had our own names? We wasn't wearing no Islamic name, no white Christian name, no Hebrew name, whatever. We wasn't wearing, you niggas are supposed to be Israelites, you won't even wear them real Hebrew names. You still got your white government slave names. We giving new names, a new language, a new next names, next language, next flag. That's eternal life happening for us. We coming alive again. The Nation of Islam, they can't say that because, again, they're wearing some Arab names that they're trying to claim for their own. They follow some Arab religion that they're trying to claim for their own. They follow some Arabic language that is not theirs. They follow some book that's not theirs. Our books belong to us as Mentalians. Our names belong to us as Mentalians. Our flag belongs to us as Mentalians. We ain't got no hand-me-down. That's a sign of life. As the order should be, the first projected here should be leading the way in the state of life. And how can you lead the way? How can you lead the world if you sitting up here using everybody else's stuff? You got to come with your own stuff. You got to come with your own transmission, your own books, your own names, your own language. We doing that. That's a sign of life. Where do you see black people doing that? Other black people doing that at now? Or where they doing it at? Answer: nowhere. 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 We not African. We Amen. We not African. So people say, oh, we got African names. And then you guys that claim you got the African name and whatnot. Like I said, some of you do the African stuff, but you still wearing the white name. So all that really represents is a sign of death. Because it was a time where there was no African, or that word didn't exist. It was a time where that word didn't exist. It was a time where none of these things that you followed didn't exist. So that means there's a time when it won't exist again. But the Amen have always lived. The Amen has always lived. And they will continue to live. Now we're being brought into that state of eternal life with them. Because they was always living in the fourth dimension. They was always living in the future, waiting to wake us up, waiting to spark us up when we was ready for them. They was waiting until we was ready for them. Now we ready. But we got to get the fakes and the phonies from amongst us, the dead, the ones who still dead, that we got to make sure we ain't dragging no dead weight. Pun intended. We got to make sure we ain't dragging no dead weight. Let me go ahead and take a call. 901.
How you doing tonight, NUBEN?
How you doing?
I just wanted to call and just add on to what you were saying, because the more and more I let the transmission of Amen permeate my mind, and the more and more I start to let go of the resistance of what is, the more and more the picture becomes clearer. And especially exactly where I'm living at in Memphis, Tennessee, downtown, I see a lot of homeless people who are mentally gone just roaming the streets. And, they'll be causing a ruckus, talking to themselves and doing all these things. And I'm just starting to see the transmission of death. Like, you actually start to see it in these people moving on that transmission. And so it's becoming more and more prevalent every day, even down to the levels where you got the people just outside walking around, just wandering around like animals. And so I just wanted to comment on that and just let you know that that transmission is strong and heavy, and a lot of people are moving off of it, even if they necessarily don't work a job, they're still moving off the energy and frequency of not doing anything productive in their lives. Because it's kind of weird seeing grown men and grown women out on the streets wandering around like animals, like, they wasted the last 40 years of their life. And so that death transmission is very strong. And I just wanted to comment on that.
No, that's what happens when you exist. You sent your letter in?
No, sir, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care. All right, we're going to play a little bit of music. We're going to take a pause for the course. I'm going to be in Restoration Plaza this Sunday. This Sunday at Restoration Plaza, I'll be doing a conference over there this Sunday. So come on out from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. All right. So come on out to that. That's going to be free. That's our once a month conference. That's our, that's how we give back to our people here in New York, and keep the transmission going, and keep it coming out and whatnot. So that you all can receive. This is all for reception, to raise up the elect of our people, the bright race. Because again, there is no bright people outside the Republic. Once you hear this message, you're supposed to come home. You're supposed to come home to where you belong. We build in our own house, separate. We build in our own house separate from everybody else. Because I tell people all the time, if you heard this message and you being witness to it, and you're still amongst the black race, then after a while, you pretty much, by default, you black. That's it. We'll be right back. You know why I tell my people that in order for us to enter the fourth dimension, we cannot have no emotions? You know why I tell y'all that? Because emotions are things of the dead. That is energy of the dead. Emotion is energy of the dead. Motion is living. Emotion is death. Motion is living. Emotion equals death. Why do I say that? Because you got these people out here who will only use emotion or react a certain way just so that they can have or what appears to be life to them. Like you got people that get mad and turn up just so they can, be noticed or seen. Like they overdo it, they over dramatic, or people will start acting like drama queens and crying, or people getting jealous, or all this stuff when they really don't mean that. They only doing that because they want attention. They want to have the sign of life on them. They want to seem as though they're alive by acting that way. You see? That's really death. Emotion equals death. They want you to notice them. They want you to notice them so that they can appear to be living. Because when you don't pay people any attention, they start to die off. When you don't give people energy, they start to eventually die off. You see, when there's no, like I said, when you give people nothing to feed on, they start to die. You see, they start to die literally, especially when you are an important person, especially when you are a person of real importance. Again, that's why I say black people don't even see that the so-called white man, they feed on your emotions. That's why they do the things they do to you, just to get a reaction out of you. They brutalize you, they redline you, they racist against you, because they do these things openly to get a reaction out of you. They want you to respond, so that therefore they have a reason for living. Your response is their reason for living. They want you to respond, when the first response should always be to Amen, not to people, not to man, because they're dead already, and they want life from you. That's why they do these things, to get you to respond to them. They know y'all still got some semblance of soul left in y'all, so in order for them to feed on your soul, they have to get you to respond to them. You see what I'm saying? They got to get you to respond to them to give you their soul. That's why they said selling your soul and whatnot, because they need your soul, your energy to live, or to exist even. Without that, they have nothing, because they're dead. They're dead people. They're dead people walking. That's all. They're not thinking, they're reacting. They are reacting to the transmission that Amen is sending into this planet that's basically animating these people. But these animated people who are only moving off of that solar transmission that's being converted into spiritual energy for them, like I said, it's watered down energy. So therefore, their movements are incomplete. Their movements are incomplete. Their motions are incomplete. So therefore, it's not real. It's always going to be incomplete, circular. It will never be linear. Their motions are never linear. That's why if you notice in this three-dimensional realm, where they say what goes around comes around, the beast puts something out 1 minute, next thing you know, he's going to put the same thing out again, give it another 20 years or so, it'll be the same thing over and over again. He'll keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's why I say he's really trying to bring back slavery, but the way he's trying to do it is through the prison industrial complex. That's going to be the new slavery. You see, they're going to always try to put themselves in charge of that, but again, this is why they're trying to put that image out there like that. They're trying to stimulate that dead race of people, those dead humans, because they're already gone already. You can't stimulate them. They're trying to shock them into animation or into motion by way of this transmission. But they're already gone already because, again, if you got to artificially get people moving in the morning, getting them up to think, because what you give them to think about is basically nonsense. You give them enough just to work. You see, what did John D. Rockefeller say? Somebody quoted John D. Rockefeller. He said, I don't want thinkers, I want workers. I don't want thinkers, I want workers. That's what John D. Rockefeller said. Because John D. Rockefeller, obviously on some level, even though he was a beast, on some level realized that these people are really they can't really think about nothing anyway. They have to have their thoughts thought out for them. They simple-minded. Basically, they was giving these dead people something to do. The same way Amen give these humans something to do. He already know they dead. And we supposed to be basically as the eternal living beings, the Amen being, we're just supposed to be overseeing this, man. We're supposed to be able to oversee the circular or the dead world. The circular or the dead world is the three-dimensional realm in which they live. They really nothing but, how's the best way I can describe this? Their motion in infinite circles, is like a generator. That's the best way I can describe it. Human life is nothing but a generator toward the fourth dimension. That's all it really is for the elect. It's nothing but a generator. It's a circular generator. Their lives, their existence is circular, for it meant to be like a generator. That's it. That's why, like I said, they cycle in and they cycle out. They cycle in and they cycle out. Because again, it's nothing but a generator. And we're supposed to be inspecting the generators. The generators is always going to be three-dimensional. The generators are going to be three-dimensional, and we oversee it from the fourth dimension, from a state of eternal life, which gives us an extra jump into the eighth dimension and the 12th dimension to go into other states and look into other dimensions and other solar systems and go and look into those generators, what they have in there, whether they're human or they call it something else, those artificial beings that they created, and we're supposed to look at that generation or that generator, and we're supposed to oversee it. We're supposed to be the Lord's overseeing the human generation, because the human generation is what powers the fourth dimension and the upper dimensions. So again, that's all they are. They're nothing but a bunch of parts within a machine, a bigger machine, which is the bigger picture that I've been telling you all, which is the fourth dimension. They're nothing but cogs in the machine. They don't matter. Do y'all hear me? That's all they are. They're nothing but cogs in the machine. These white people, these Asians, these humans, these black people that's on that dimension, those clones, the creation, they're nothing but cogs in the machine. And a circular machine that's headed towards something else. That's all. We're not supposed to put ourselves within the machine with them. Exactly, living batteries. That's all they are. And they're being generated by the projection that comes in. And it's being converted into lunar energy and whatnot so that they can move about in states of limitation. Because they don't have any souls. They don't have souls. So they cannot have any real life. Anyone without soul has no real life. Your humans have no souls. Your Caucasians, your East Indians, your Asians, they don't have no souls. They got spirits. They don't have souls. So therefore they can't really be living. They're being held up by spirit energy in this three-dimensional atmosphere. That's what's animating them. They don't have no soul. And you niggas that follow them, you ain't got no soul. They spirit done inhabited you. You niggas done gave your soul up. That's why they always get these niggas to sell out, because you literally giving your soul over to them. And you start acting like them. You allow those spiritual energies to inhabit their body. That's why when they get these niggas in these little satanic circles, they make them do all this degenerate stuff, homosexuality, whatever. They make them do this stuff because by you doing these things, these illogical things, these degenerate things, you giving up your soul. That's why they get you. They pay you to participate in these little witches circles, because in these circles, when you niggas is in them, you giving up your soul. By you following the degenerate things they might tell you to do, have sex with an animal, have sex with another man or some weirdo, or even lay with them, you giving up your soul. You giving up your soul. That's a ritual. By getting you black males to put on dresses, you giving up your soul. You belong to them now. That's it. They vibrate off that energy that you giving them. And you become part of the dead. It don't even make no sense to talk to these niggas about nothing, man. They already gone, man. They can't hear you. They'll never be able to hear this message, because this is a message of the living, the eternal living. They not of the living, man. They dead. They with the beast, man. That's why they will always believe what the white man say. They will always follow what he say. They will always get in alignment and boot step and follow what they say. That's why I said when them ex-members left out of here, I said, notice everything they quoting to you is from the white man. They called me a narcissist. They took all these quotes from white people or some niggas who follow white people, because that means they joined the dead. They left the living and joined the dead. Because here in the Republic, we doing our own thinking. We receiving our own transmission. Where's theirs coming from? It's coming from the dead. Because again, if you're not going to be on that path to eternal life, you're going to be in that circle of death. You understand that? If you're not going to be on that path of eternal life, then you in that circle of death. You people in the church, you on that circle of death, man. You people in the religion, y'all in that circle of death. You people in that spiritual world and all that other stuff, you on that circle of death, man. Why? Because where did these teachings come from? Through the people who are dead. If they came through dead people, what did that tell you? If they came through dead people, people who are artificial, people who are not even really living, people who have no soul, and you took some teaching from a bunch of dead people who have no soul, then that means you dead. To have soul, to have pure soul is to have pure mind and pure body. To be of the thinking equals to be of the living. To be the believers means you the dead. You understand that? Exactly. Dead teachings. That means you of the dead. You have accepted dead teachings. Again, what is the biggest thing that niggas follow in religion? They follow what? Christianity. What is Christianity based on? Death. The death of their God, Jesus, Lucifer, Satan, whatever you want to call him. The death of their God, Jesus. That's what their religion is built on. Death, not life. Because they say, do they not talk about the so-called life of Jesus all the way to his death? His death on the cross is how the Christians pray. They say, because Jesus was sacrificed on the cross and he was nailed to a cross and he died for your sins. And that is the start of Christianity. So his death is your life. So basically, his death is really your death. When you following this Christ or calling yourself a Christian, your death is really his death, because your teaching started based on somebody's death. Right or wrong? You tell me I'm wrong. It's all based on death. That's it. It's not based on life, on death. And that's done purposely. That is done purposely. The people talking about the resurrection of Christ after 3 days, right? 3 days and 3 nights, which is really, there wasn't no 3 days and 3 nights. That is a Masonic symbol of Jesus being raised after 3 days and 3 nights, 33. That's a Masonic number, and that's a Masonic symbol. You see? That's a Masonic symbol. A symbolism of numbers. You see, on the cross, all of that. You see, the crossroads. That represents the crossroads between good and evil. You see what I'm saying? So again, that just goes to show you, these things are based on death. They were always based on death. They were always based on mentally dead or mentally ignorant people. That's what it was always based on. Let me go ahead and take a call. 864.
Quick question, Nuben. That 33 that when you mentioned the Masons and all that, does those threes have anything to do with the third dimension?
Yeah, it represents a completion of the third dimension. It represents a completion, really, of the third dimension, the physical side and the spiritual side. You don't complete it, or you know above and beyond it. That's really what the 33 is supposed to represent. That you have complete knowledge of the physical realm and the spiritual realm, because that's all Earth is. Earth and the three-dimensional state is nothing but physical and spirit, and you only start to get into the solar state when you go into the fourth dimension.
Man, makes sense, bro. Crystal clear.
All right.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Yeah, but that's what that is. You don't come into that state. Like I said, our souls start to extend in the fourth dimension, man. And our souls are starting to extend right now as we're receiving this transmission. We got to hear it in order for our souls to extend, man. And like I said, many people are not going to hear it. They're not going to hear it. And they're not supposed to hear it. Because again, those people who are carrying that eternal life, they become stronger and stronger and stronger physically, mentally, soulfully. They start to extend. So again, of course, their life is going to extend. Their life is going to extend because we amongst each other. We are amongst each other. So of course, our lives are going to extend because we only being amongst each other as we coming into that fourth dimensional state. As we coming into that fourth dimensional state, you're going to start to ignore the people more and more and more in the three-dimensional state. It's like these people are going to look like, damn, they're going to look so transparent to you, you're just going to walk right through these people. You're going to start to ignore these people more and more. You're not going to want to hear nothing they talking about. You're just going to, like, you know, just keep it moving. You're going to become more and more secluded. You're gonna start to really become one unimental force for real. One bright unimental force. You're not going to even be thinking about nobody. You're not going to be thinking of anybody outside our line, outside this lane. You ain't going to be thinking about that. We ain't going to need nothing outside this lane. We're going to go to what we need to go. And like I said, people are going to move out your way. They ain't going to say nothing to you because they know that you're carrying a whole different vibration, a whole other different energy. And they're not going to do you the same way. See, black people are done the way they've done because, again, black people are on that same dead frequency with the white race. They're on the same dead frequency. They're going to be on that same dead frequency until they are absorbed into the white race to become the gray race. They're going to continue to be on that dead frequency. They're going to continue to believe that their skin is black. They're going to continue to believe that they're the same as the white people. They're going to continue to believe that it's about skin color. They're going to continue to believe they come from Africa. They're going to continue to believe this nonsense from the white man, whatever he lie and make up to them. That's how you know they're of the dead. That's why I said in the beast they trust. That's what it meant in Revelation when they said those who are going to have the mark of the beast in their forehead versus those who are going to have the mark of the Lord. Those who have the mark of the Lord are going to have the eternal life. And again, this is not no religion. This is not religion. This is reality. This is reality. This is evolution I'm talking about here. Mental, physical, and soul evolution. This is what I'm talking about. This ain't no religion. Because again, the more and more intelligence we gather and the more and more we start to receive, we're being moved forward into greater and extended levels of thought. So we're being moved into greater and extended levels of thought. Then we're going to be able to know what death really is as it is being told us through this message. We're going to be like, okay, that makes sense. So we're going to start doing these things. And then as our mind extends, we extend. Our lives extend. To those who don't get it, they're going to still think this religion. That represents, that again, because that's all they understand is dead things. All they understand is dead things. So even when something is blatantly living right in front of their face, they're not going to be able to see it. They're only going to see it as something dead. Oh, y'all just another religion. Nah, y'all just another cult. Y'all just another this. They're going to always say that because that's all the dead could understand. All the dead could understand is something dead. They don't understand anything living because they're not living. Stop trying to judge by what the dead think. Y'all, see, that's the problem with a lot of people. Again, and I'm not saying all people because the black race is dead. I ain't even talking about y'all. But even amongst some of my people, don't judge and nothing by what the dead said. The dead people say. They don't matter. Nothing they're talking about carries any life to it. It doesn't carry any life to it. All it does is carry death. Because I asked some people that was talking all that crap about me and slandering me, I said, well, after you, let's just say I stopped teaching, what you going to offer the people? What are you going to offer the people? Some more dead knowledge from the white man? That's all you got to offer? What are you going to offer the people once I stop teaching if y'all got what y'all wanted? You're going to offer them more dead knowledge from the white man, more narcissism, more philosophy, more dead teachings from dead people. People who mentally gone. Can't mess with y'all. We'll be right back. Y'all ever wonder why I play jazz on this broadcast so much? You ever wonder why? The reason why I play jazz so much on this broadcast is because jazz is live music. That is a living music. That is music that stimulates. That is living music. That's soul music. That's real soul music. Classic soul music. That's jazz is real soul music. Yeah, everything, because notice, at one point we produced a dead music. When we were in bondage under the beast, they called it blues music. Blues is dead music. It had a dead tone music to it. It was dead music we were producing. We were singing about the blues, about being in slavery and all this other stuff. We had a dead music that we were singing called blues. And then when we got out of slavery in the early 1900s, we came with jazz. Jazz was upbeat, soul, living, right? Upbeat, soul, and living. And you notice the double Z's on the jazz, double Z's. Now, where did that come from? That had to let you know that had to be futuristic music, man. That jazz music was from the future, because first the Negro that came up with it, he called it jazz. He called it jazz music with two S's. And notice J-A-S-S, jazz. Who changed it to jazz? He had an inspiration, they started calling it jazz. That's that Serpentine music, man. That Serpentine music was being used in ancient Egypt. What was they known for playing in ancient Egypt? What was they known for playing? The horns. The horns were known for being played in ancient Egypt. That was futuristic music back then, because I bet you if you go back to the ancient world, if you could hear them sound they play, it'd sound like a primitive, somewhat of a primitive version of jazz music. With the drum and the horn, right? That was a primitive form of jazz they was listening to. And then we took it up, and like I said, then we got it forward again, going forward, and it became jazz music. That's why I play that. Notice the white man, he knows how powerful jazz is. That's why, if you notice, he listens to jazz. He knows the power and the synchronicity and the mental stimulation of jazz. That's why he listens to it. The wealthy white people listen to jazz music. They go to jazz clubs. They buy jazz albums. You notice that? And they pay a lot of those black jazz musicians good money. Do you ever hear black jazz musicians complaining about their contract? You ever hear them complaining about record sales are being robbed? No, they make sure they take care of them black jazz musicians. Them black jazz musicians can go anywhere and perform and get money. They don't never complain because the white man take care of them, because he knows how powerful their music is. He knows that it can basically control the mind and move people. That's why they keep it amongst them. They got record companies that the white man owns only for jazz music that black people don't even know nothing about. You see that? They got private jazz clubs where they just go. And the black jazz musicians go in there and perform. And they don't, and trust me, they don't want to hear that white jazz. They don't want to hear the white jazz. They want niggas playing jazz music. They don't want no white boys like Kenny G and that soft jazz BS. They don't want that. They want niggas playing jazz music because that's the soul. That's the soul. They know that's the real soul music. Everything else done been watered down to what you hear now. They done took bits and pieces because jazz influenced R&B. It influenced soul music. It influenced everything, even hip hop. Jazz influenced all that. So with each bit that was being taken out, each sound that was being taken out, a bit of the soul was being removed. You see that? Yeah. Club music, all that is jazz. All that's nothing but jazz. Electrified jazz. That's all jazz music. Jazz. Jazz. You see? Smooth jazz. That's that white boy stuff. No, no. The white man want niggas playing jazz music. He want the real thing, the authentic thing. He don't want no white people playing. He don't want no East Indian, he want niggas. You know how the white man is? He want the real thing. Even though he artificial, but he want the real thing. He don't want no Kenny G. He don't want none of that. He want the people that originated the music. He want niggas to play jazz. That's why you will never see Branford Marsalis, or Wynton Marsalis. They ain't gonna be crying about no money. They get money. You see? They don't worry about no awards. They don't worry about that. They got money. They living very comfortably. The beast take care of them because he recognized the power of that music. That's living music. That's eternal music. That's eternal fourth dimensional music. And the beast breaks it down. He tries to give you a lot of death music. He tries to give you a death aura. That's why he takes the horn out of the music. He takes certain bass out of the music. He'll take a drum and add an artificial drum to it. He know what he's doing. He know what he's doing. When he started hearing bits and pieces of the club music sounding like jazz, he recognized the electric jazz, more of an electrified version of jazz. Then all of a sudden, he tried to turn it to techno. He took the soul out of the club music, the house music y'all was listening to. It had somewhat of jazz in it, and that's why y'all liked it, and y'all could dance to it, and y'all could bob your head to it because that was nothing but sped up jazz. He recognized that, and what else suddenly happened? He started getting rid of those women because a lot of those women who was doing jazz music, they went to doing club and house music like Crystal Waters in them, and then when the club and the jazz stuff, the club music stopped or whatever, they went back to doing jazz. Because they know it's the same kind of music, technically. They don't want you to get that. I'm gonna say this: most of your family members were nothing but meant to be a genetic structure and getting you here. A lot of your family members' genetic structure was needed to get you here. The clone genetic structure of your family lineage was basically to bring you here as the elect. Now you can go forward and take that real bloodline and reestablish them or extend them in the fourth dimension if you so choose. If you are the highest point of that transmission of your family, of your genetic bloodline, you can then take that forward and extend that bloodline going forward in the fourth dimension. Because everybody that pretty much got you up to this point were basically limited three-dimensional clones within. I don't care if it's your father, your mother, and all of them. I'm not saying you ain't supposed to love them. You are part of that genetic bloodline, but all I'm saying is when you come to the fourth dimension, you represent the highest point of your genetic material. You represent the highest point of your genetic material as you are receiving this transmission from Amen and putting your bloodline, your family into alignment. Do you know that certain people will never be chosen to be the representation of their family? That means their bloodline is going to be washed and sent into the gray race. Their bloodline is going to be washed up with the gray race. Those of you who have been selected as the elect to hear this message, you represent your family in the future. You're going to be able to bring your family forward into the fourth dimension because of what you're doing right now. And based on if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing and you decide to go amongst the beast again, then again, you have basically sealed your fate and have put your family in alignment for the gray race to be extinguished, to be in that infinite circle of in that infinite circle of death. Because they talk about the cycle of life. There's no cycle of life. There's a cycle of death. You're born dead. You're basically existing until you die. You don't really know what you're here for. You don't got a goddamn clue. You ain't got a clue. So they need to stop with that, that's really what they mean when they say you're born into a world of sin. You're born into a world of death. That's what they really teaching you in religion. You're born into a world of death. And what they say, you're not going to be really, they say you're not going to receive eternal life until you go to heaven. Ain't that what they say? Well, what is heaven? What is heaven? They say you're going to get eternal life when you go to heaven. So that means if you're not living an eternal life now, then you ain't really living. You got to be on the path to living that right now. The heaven they talking about is the fourth dimension. That's really what they're talking about. They call it heaven because it is a haven for those who are highly intelligent, who belong in that state. Those who belong in that state. And many don't belong in that state. They just don't. They're not of that state. Again, you represent the highest in the genetic material of your bloodline and your family, those of you who are of the elect. You representing your family, your bloodline right now. You can bring them forward in the fourth dimension, because without you, without what you're doing right now, coming into this community, coming forward in communion, going forward as one unimental force, you're going to drive your bloodline into the fourth dimension. They're going to be of the elect as well, those who didn't make it on this side, based on what you're doing. Right now, you're driving them, you're going to bring them forward into a state of eternal life, your damn self. You're going to bring them forward. Not no God in the sky, not no God sitting on no cloud or nothing. You're going to drive them in by the strength and the power of your transmission, by the strength and the power of who you are as the elect, as the chosen to receive this transmission. As you see it, you're going to be able to do it. That's the reality of what's happening here. It's all about what we can receive and conceive and live forward with it. What we can receive and conceive, meaning grow inside of us. What we can pull in and let grow inside of us and extend us so that we can extend, receive, conceive, exceed. That is us. So let me go ahead and read these questions before we get out of here. What is the fourth dimensional life after three-dimensional death? It's basically us coming on in alignment, mind, body, and soul. We're going to start to receive our higher mental capabilities, because when those higher mental capabilities come on, then we coming on further and further into eternal life. We leave in the circular state of death, and we coming forward in the state of linear life, continuous life. When we receive our mental powers on earth, which we're going to start, we started receiving them gradually now, as we are starting to line up. This is a lifelong process in this community, in this covenant, and raising our children here. We ain't stopping for nothing. Why is the three-dimension thought of as death dimension? Because, again, everything here is incomplete. Everything here does not make sense. Again, it is not natural or logical for a bunch of animal people to be running society. This is bugged the hell out. They're not supposed to be in charge of nothing. This is like something out of a crazy fairy tale book. Animal people are running the planet. This is really the animal planet now. And it's been getting ridiculous. We listen to beast people, animal people, humans. We listen to damn humans tell us what to do. Beast people, people with animal fur coming out of their head, who admit that they animals. They scientists admitted it. And we been sitting up here listening to animals tell us what to do and how to think. That's going to stop. Why is it, why is the fourth dimension considered the path to eternal life? Because it is. It is the state of completion. It is the state of completion as one. We're coming from 0 to 1. So you already know that's the extended path right there. We're coming from 0 to 1. So one is always going to bring a path toward another one, and the path is going to keep getting extended. Right? What is infinite life and eternal life, and what does it mean? And what is infinite life and eternal life? Infinite life is in a circle. Eternal life is in a straight line. We are the straight line. We represent the eternal life. They represent the infinite life, but they're going to keep going in circles until they spin out as the gray race. And that's what's going to happen with them. And that's going to be their own hell. They're going to keep coming back in. They're going to be suffering from it because they're going to want to escape that so bad. Some of them going to keep committing suicide, coming back, doing the same thing over and over and over again. What does this mean in the future to the elect? It means, again, eternal life. I said this again before, and I said this again. I'm in this for power. I'm not in this for friends and all this other stuff. I'm in it for the power. Eternal life is the ultimate power, and that's it. We're going to close out in the name of Amen, by the power of Amen. In Amen we trust, in Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever. Hail Amen, hail the Mentarians. And I want to say to my mother, my beautiful Mizul, Benetta MENKARAYZZ, happy birthday, Ma. Love you, Ma. This is for you. I'm dedicating this song to you. Good night. See y'all tomorrow.
Rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the republic of intellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can